where certain black folk in America are so settled with the state that they could actually bring themselves to vote for that lunatic Donald Trump. Now, it's important to make those comparisons because nothing and no one has given more fillip to the international resurgence of fascism than Donald Trump himself. And so when we remember that we too had a civil rights movement in this country, it started at least in the late 1950s with the so-called Notting Hill riots, the riots in St. Anne's and Nottingham, the murder of Kelso Cochran in 1959, which the Metropolitan Police did not actively and robustly investigate, because although they knew who the suspects were, they decided that if they went after them in 1959, they would have worse riots instigated by white British than they did in 1958. So Kelso Cochran's murderer walked free. And then we had everything that's happened since then. The Wilson government, I came here in 1964, a few months before the election of that year. And Peter Griffiths in Smethwick in the West Midlands made his speech pitching for the Conservative Party. If you want a nigger for a Labour, vote Labour. And he won with a 7.2% swing from Labour to Conservative. Patrick Gordon Walker, the then Foreign Secretary, Shadow Foreign Secretary, lost his seat. But then what does Wilson and that law do? They bring in the 1965 race relations legislation, added to what happened in 1962, in order to keep people with black skin out of the country. Now, I have always maintained, and those of you who've written stuff, who've read stuff that I have written would know that we sit, the British state and those who run it, sit along a spectrum. At one end, you have them purporting to believe in equality, diversity, and inclusion, a fair society, and all that stuff. And then there are positioned along that same spectrum the Conservative Party, the Labour Party, and of course the National Front, Column 88 as they were, Britain First, the BNP, and all of those people. So you are right. The moment we are in just now is a creation of the British state. It's a creation of the Labour Party and of the Conservative Party. They have built it ever since the 1948 Nationality Act. And so what we find now, and we are all in this room old enough to remember the period between 2010 and now, Cameron and Theresa May capitulated to Nigel Farage, UKIP, imposed a referendum upon us so that we can get out of Europe. And since then, they've been running scared of Nigel Farage. So the momentum around reform and its gains, its electoral gains, shouldn't cause them any alarm. They created the damn thing. They created it. And so what we must do now is to remember my friend, whom some of you would know, the late John LaRose. LaRose used to say, don't wait till the ovens begin to burn. Stark message. And it's a message that's relevant to us right now. How do we deal as black people? And by black I mean political black. Those of us who are victims of oppression, and oppression that had its birth in imperialism and colonialism and the advancement of Western capitalism and all the rest of it. How do we deal with the present moment? How prepared are we to ensure that we are safe and that any Tom, Dick, and Harry, Mary, Jane, or Sue who feels like it don't feel they are entitled to take a pop at us?
Yes. Yes.
I promise you I'll end in a minute. I was saying to some people last weekend, I can bet my last pound that this last Monday gone, not even 5% of the schools in this country would suspend business to address the whole school assembly on the significance of what happened in London last Saturday. Children as young as 5 and 7 swathed in the Union flag and the St. George's flag with both their parents or one parent or whatever running around the place mouthing the same filth, the same racist gunge that their parents were mouthing. They would end up in school last Monday and throughout the week with my grandchildren and yours. So what the hell is the school telling them about the significance of last week for them?
Right.
When these blooming dinosaurs die, and God make it be soon, their children and my grandchildren will have the unenviable task of forging a future in this society. This land of hope and in glory. This green and not so pleasant land.
Preach.
How are they preparing them
Yes.
to face that task? How are they preparing them?
Yeah, good question.
People like me have been kicking ass in this goddamn place since 1964, for Christ's sake. And still doing it now. I do not believe, I cannot be sanguine about the work that the schools and the education system in this country have done to prepare the next generation to make sure that they don't have to spend their lives like me dealing with the toxicity of racism.
Oh, yeah.